Stationeers is a space survival simulator. And it's actually a simulator, contrary to 99% of all other games who just give you the flavor of the thing they're supposedly simulating, but then you just get some superficial elements and that's it. But here, you really have to deal with gases, with pressure, with electricity, with building a station out of individual parts, with gathering the resources for that. You don't have a tech tree, but instead you have technology that is interdependent. And so you have to solve that. And you have to make sure that the simulation doesn't kill you. To give you an impression of just how deep and modular you can engineer your astronaut reality, I will now open my spacesuit's air tank. Whoops.
Air tank critical.
And then refill it in my custom-made O2 station. You can see here, it is quickly being filled. This chip is controlling this. The software for it has been developed over here, in Stationeer's own built-in assembly language. That you don't need to learn, but is highly advisable. What's modular about this is this here, this box in the middle is a filtration unit. What comes in here gets filtered here and comes out here, and whatever wasn't filtered, isn't oxygen in this case, comes out back here. This could have been a pipe leading to a tank. This could have been a pipe leading from a tank or from the outside atmosphere. We are on Europa, very cold moon of Jupiter. What's coming out here is leading to a tank that will be highly pressurized, so whenever I insert a bottle here, it will be filled very quickly. Here I have my own custom-made heating system. It heats up this box with burning gas, and highly pressurized oxygen in this pipe is available anywhere in my station to be unleashed into the room, but not directly, but only by thermal energy exchange. This is how I can heat things up. The cooling system, which is currently active, is much more primitive. Europa has minus 140 degrees Celsius, and so all I need to do is open the station to the outside atmosphere into this insulated pipe, and here it has contact with the station atmosphere via thermal energy exchange. And things get cooler again. This is my station's tiny manufacturing center. And here I'm storing electric energy, which I get from these wind turbines. Of course, there's also solar power. These panels track the sun automatically, because I programmed them to do so. In this furnace room I can create steel and advanced alloys. There's also greenhousing. As you can tell, I'm particularly fond of the programming side of Stationeers. But which particular part of the Stationeers experience you focus on is your choice. In the beginning, though, you will first have to not die. You see, Stationeers starts you at the deep end. You're not standing on Earth and conveniently leveling up a little bit and then... No. You're being drop-shipped onto the planet of your choice, or moon in this case. Over there's Earth, maybe you know it. And then you have limited oxygen reserves, limited food reserves, and if you don't know what you're doing, then eventually you will fall over dead, and the game's over. I mean, don't worry, there's quick save, press F5 or just click here, or save your new save game, and there's also autosave, which is enabled by default. There's even a save game history for each individual world that you have. You're in a real simulated spacesuit whose oxygen is ticking down and whose life support battery will not last you for an eternity, so best turn your light off. And don't open your helmet.
Pressure critical.
That's not good for you.
Oxygen critical.
You have a tool belt. You'll have a whole host of supplies at your disposal, but you can of course also create new ones by mining and by manufacturing. If you need some more oxygen, you can just dunk your spacesuit canister
Air tank critical.
into your reserve tank. Don't use the wrong one though.
Toxin critical. Cognition low.
And good night. Your trusty multipurpose tablet tells you about things in containers, if need be. Yeah, this is not for breathing. Neither is this. This is for swimming. No, you can't swim in this game. There's not just systems and devices to install in your station, but also many portable ones. For example, solar panels. Even in the beginning, when things are still rather dire, you have a lot of freedom of choice. But one thing's for sure, your station needs a foundation. By the way, the head-up display is freely scalable, even to something very small, so you can fit lots of things on the screen. Oh look, the battery's full. And then, to trap the gas that you want to breathe, you need some walls. And a roof, so it's helpful that we have a jetpack from the get-go. It's a good idea to get your stuff indoors before you have built everything, because lumbering all of that through the airlock is tricky. Machinery and construction require multiple parts to be completed. So you have to build everything by hand, bit by bit, but the game strikes the right balance between tedious and detailed. There, our little survival box on the moon. Oh, there's just a little problem. I forgot the door. Oh well. And not just one door. Two even, because this has to be an airlock, else the gas will escape whenever we open the door. Then we need some airlock devices, gas sensor, console, air pump, cabling. The power supply should have a buffer battery for the energy coming in from the solar panel. Then we're putting up our first 3D printer. Then, to at least get the most basic ingots, we put up the simplest of the 3 furnaces. You go and mine some resources. Or you mine a little more. I mean, it's good to have a good supply in the beginning. You will need gold, copper, definitely iron, and silicon is also useful to make some glass sheets and such. Meanwhile, the battery of the mining drill is very low, and we need to drink something. Here, food and water, we need to drink some. So, recharge battery. I don't have this thing on the whole time because it consumes electricity, even if there's no battery in there. Not as much though, of course. Then we can start smelting some stuff. And we can enjoy once more the depth of the simulation. We're getting some hot gases here from the ore. The sun has moved on, and as it does, the solar panel will generate less and less power. Maybe it's time to change its angle? We also have a solid fuel generator, which burns coal. In easy difficulty, eating and drinking can be done with closed helmet, but let's assume we play normal or stationeer difficulty, so we can't do this now. We need a box to breathe in. Or do you want to open your helmet right now? This is possible. We can just stuff our faces and close the helmet quickly. But on other planets, that's not so advisable. Your lungs will take ridiculous damage and then you will just die because your body can no longer take in oxygen. So it's time that we configure this airlock, right? Glass door, air pump, inner door, gas sensor. Yeah, that should be it. Now we have a working airlock. Then we go and mine some oxide. So as you can hear, we're already a bit in trouble. This is the expression of pain. Our health is dwindling because there's nothing more in our body. No more liquids. But I will just toss down the oxide, which will melt it. Let's see if that's enough or if we need to mine more. Ah, looking good. Pressure is increasing. I think I can open the helmet now. There's also a hotkey for that. Okay, we can breathe. Therefore, we can feast. Problem solved. So let's continue business outside.
Low pressure.
And
Oxygen low.
close the helmet.
Pressure critical.
Okay, now we have some resources that we can work with. And we toss it into the manufactory. One of the first things we want to make are the other manufactories. For example, the pipe bender for atmospheric supplies. Pipes, pumps, that kind of stuff. And while we're waiting, maybe we want to clean up a bit. There's not much left in here. Also not so much in here. So let's deconstruct those. And maybe put up a locker. There it is. And that's much better. When the sun has set, you no longer get electricity on the moon because there's no wind. So our station, our little batteries here that drive our station will discharge. Good thing we have the coal burner. Green, so it's being charged. Okay, that's much better. All these gases being excreted, of course you can just build a box around them and gather them in tanks and filter them and use them. It's even advisable on a planet like this, a celestial body, like the moon, where you don't have any wind atmosphere. The best way in the beginning to solve the electricity concerns is to produce power with a coal burner because it outputs 20 kilowatts. But these storages cannot take that much in. The station battery, however, can take in as much as you want, and it stores a ginormous amount of electricity. So let's set up the furnace so we can start making alloys, for example steel, so we can make the station battery. To create the necessary heat we will need some fuel. It's best to mine during the day, but we can still find it right here. Volatiles. This and oxide together can produce very hot gas. It's best not to put in too much at once, because the furnace has a pressure limit and that's...
Cognition critical.
Yeah.
Health critical.
Easily reached. In easy mode you respawn with a spacesuit. But it's not easy to continue regardless if your entire station is destroyed. Oh well. That's more viable, okay. Now with the right ingredients. And the right pressure and temperature, we will get steel. Now we can install the station battery. There's just a little problem. These cables are only rated for 5000 watts. And now we're going to give 20,000 watts that will actually be used. And so, our cable burns out. Good thing there's also heavy cables, 100,000 watts. Cable network design is one of the many interesting engineering tasks of this game. For example, what's wrong with this one? This is the output of the station battery and it goes in here, into our station, but there's also what the solar panel does. The solar panel does not go into the battery? Exactly. Also, here's our airlock. Power comes in, there's our little power switch. And we have one here in the airlock because if the airlock has no power, what will you do? Break open a wall and quickly try to run against the strong winds coming from the inside where everything is lost and your plants die? You don't want that. Your airlock needs to be functional. So we have this area power supply in here. If in case it doesn't have power, you can just swap in your own battery for the moment to cycle the airlock. These are the only devices on this electrical circuit, and that's good because any more devices would drain the battery too much. You need your airlock functional. This is still that same stack of coal, 12 ore remaining from 50 when we originally used it to charge some batteries, and now this one is even almost full. That's how much power this is, and that's why you want steel and the station battery early. This thing will stay hot for a long time, and inside of it we have, for example, CO2, which the plants like. Not at this temperature, but you know, you get the picture. So you can connect this outlet here with a filtration unit, pump it into your station so you only get the CO2 and not the nasty pollutant or some remaining volatiles. Maybe you also want some nitrogen. I think some plants like it. Oh, plants are complex. F1. Organics and food. The obligatory potato. But even that is a complex thing. But you easily get some routine to make it happen. Hey, you know what's missing from the station? Light. Yeah, that's better. And now we have the electricity to afford all of this. The second station battery is almost as satisfying as the first one since it doubles our capacity. Don't forget to cable the output as you won't have much benefit. But storing the electricity alone is already very valuable. We come with plenty of drinking water and food reserves, but on the matter of getting new food, well, we have our hydroponics supplies. For example, potato seeds and some hydroponics trays. We even have a grow light. Not so needed on the moon, but it's good to have one. And water. And now we can even refill our bottles. By the way, things don't have to look like a construction site. There are various wall types available, so you can definitely get your station up to snuffs. It's almost too empty in here right now. And you can also spray paint stuff. But take care. That causes some pollution. Yep. All of that is simulated. So with that in mind, a question every father has asked themselves at some point, is it time to put the seed in? Well, the temperature in here is 32 degrees and rising. Every device has some waste heat. And what about the CO2? It's too low. I mean, I keep breathing in here and so I'm causing some CO2. Also, my suit keeps alarming me that the canister is soon full, my waste canister. Let's open this then. Ah, okay, much better, much more CO2. But is this really a lasting solution? Remember our furnace? There's still some gas in there that we could get out with the filtration unit. Making some CO2 filters, not the dumbest idea since my own, for my suit, are soon no longer viable. Well, I'm breathing out CO2 and that needs to go somewhere in my suit, into the waste tank. How does that happen? By means of CO2 filter, of course. Still pretty hot in there. This is the pipe for the filtration unit. Now the gas is in this pipe too. Okay, time to get some CO2 for the plants. I mean, we already have enough, but only for the moment. Eventually that would be breathed away. And go. Oh. And we're getting CO2. You see, the percentage is decreasing. What's happening? Uh-huh. 5% CO2. By the way, not good for humans, but in this program that's not simulated. I find that a bit sad, but there's another problem now. It's getting too warm in here. Way too warm. Maybe I should have waited longer for the furnace to cool down?
Temperature high.
50 degrees. Good thing I just installed a cooling solution. The concept is very simple. You can see here that some thermal energy is radiated away, and that is much stronger up there where the pipe radiators are, and that just radiates into the vacuum. That just goes away. We no longer have to care about that. And see, the station temperature is falling. Which even has a nice side effect. Because all that pollutant from spray painting and welding in the station is now coming out, slowly. Because the pressure in this pipe is so high that it becomes liquid. This is the phase change diagram of the gas pollutant in the game. Low pressure, medium pressure, high pressure. At high pressures in this temperature range, it's a liquid. And this passive liquid drain here allows liquids to escape from gas pipes. And so the pollutant just goes out into space. Oh, it's getting a bit cold in here. Now let's pump that pipe empty, so nothing remains. But anyway, it's a bit cold in here already. The plant should have 20 to 30 degrees. Not a problem, we have a radiator. And of course you can automate all this, and spray paint and decorate, and there are many different ways to implement these solutions. This here right now is something I personally like very much, this kind of makeshift stuff. Oh, we have a little bit of this left, well, use that then. And if it would be getting too hot in here, let's simulate that. Well, there's still some oxide that we have. And the pressure in here isn't too high, so plants like 50 to 100 kilopascals, and if we just toss down some more of the oxide, we will get more pressure, and it will get cooler also, because that's ice that's melting. Now with that out of the way, there's good temperature here, the pressure is fine, enough CO2, it's time to plant. And you shouldn't plant everything at once, but I will do that regardless because I know what I'm doing. And with the plant another cartridge, we can even see how our plants are doing. Growth efficiency, fine. Breathing, fine. Temperature, fine. Pressure, fine. Light efficiency, well, you have to take care not to give too much light, or rather too long. They need some breathing room during the day, and if you don't consider that, your illumination stress will go up. And too little light will also get your illumination stress up, and, well, you don't want that. The plants might eventually die. So now you have seen a good whiff of what Stationeers looks like in the beginning. This is the beginning of the game. You think you've seen much? Well, yes, of course, but the game is much, much deeper than this. You could, for example, build custom airlocks. Very, very fast ones with 4 sides.
Pressure critical. Oxygen critical.
Or you can build fully automatic ones. I mean really, really fast ones. Or you can leave the mining to the machines. You'll definitely have fun playing with gases. On Vulcan, you're gonna have the engineering experience of your life. getting oxygen from your greenhouse and mixing it with the planetary volatiles to create fuel gas, for furnacing, or to convert it to water, at least hot water gas, that you have to cool, and then it becomes liquid, and then you can drink it or use it for your plants. Or how about Mars? Phase change based cooling. Or mixing your own perfect fuel, no matter what the base temperatures are of the gases that go in this. Or how about playing an alien who needs different gases to breathe? So you even need to protect your plants from you that you need to eat, because they need the normal atmosphere. This is a DLC that they sell. There are 4 DLCs available, 1 cosmetic with suits, 1 cosmetic for faces and such, then the Zillion DLC that you see here, and you can also play a robot. That's another DLC where you only need a battery, but you're very dependent on it. You don't need to eat or drink or don't need any gases. You might think, why are they selling DLC on an early access game? Because this game already has easily thousands of hours of entertainment for you, thousands. And they just want to keep developing it, and their vision hasn't yet been realized, and so they keep it in early access. And even after that, they want to keep developing this. And like I said, I get almost daily updates. Almost daily. Something in here is better, improved, fixed, and so forth. Tweaked, tuned. These developers deserve your cash. And at the same time, this is a niche game that very few people play, and so they are not exactly making bank here. Yet they want to keep developing this unique simulation experience. So please get on board, help finance this, and have fun.